Alright, hello there everyone. This is the Ghost Layers Live here in Yokohama today. We're on Ustream. So, welcome everyone. If you tune in, happy to see you. If you don't, you probably should. Alright, so today I'll bring up a bigger question. A question, that doesn't get asked enough, and when it does, doesn't interest me too much when I do. But does nuclear power have a future in Japan? Can it continue to operate as an industry? Can they continue to have nuclear power plants here? Very big question, very good question. It is confusing for me to really tell if Japan will actually pull this off and totally do away with nuclear power, because there's a big push from the Japanese public. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm in an area where there's a lot of motorcycles, scooters and shit. Anyways, because like I said, there's a big push from the Japanese people to end nuclear power. It's not just Occupy Tokyo. It's a lot of people I talk to. I'm a teacher, so every day I'm talking to students, and they talk about it from time to time, because it's a pretty big issue going on. And all of them are pretty much, except for a few, they're pretty much anti-nuclear, and they don't want nuclear power anymore. And as of right now, there's only, I believe, one nuclear reactor actually up and running in Japan and producing power and electricity for the country. And in May, that one goes down. So we're looking at the prospect of the majority of 2012 being totally nuclear power free in this country. But there's a catch to that. I believe it's KEPCO, which is down in Kansai area. I believe it's them that said it. It might have been another smaller power company that has a couple of reactors. They've said as soon as the last one shut down, they got plans to turn on some other ones. So, will they actually do that? That remains to be seen. I think whether Japan will remain nuclear free or not depends on a little bit of economics, which I think do need to be talked about. It's not just the emotional issue or the clear massive damage that Fukushima nuclear power plant has created. It's a little bit of economic as well. And there's a few things I've noticed what they've been doing to keep us in enough electricity while these reactors are shut down. Number one, they've been using a lot more natural gas to provide energy, which has come out. TEPCO has said that's a bit of a problem for them because their gas plants have not really been updated and maintained very well because of all the nuclear power they've been cranking out. And say a lot of those gas plants are starting to reach capacity for what they can do. Without the necessary updates being done to them, they're going to reach their max in the next few months for what they can actually produce. That's going to be a bit of a problem because back in January, Japan had its first trade deficit in decades due to the offsetting in the market of having a lack of nuclear power and that being offsetted by a lot more natural gas imports. And natural gas has proved to be a bit high and a bit of shock to the market because it's not used to having that much natural gas imported in. So a lot of companies have not been making deals and things from companies from other countries get the natural gas in, so the price is a bit higher than expected. Because another guy, and a couple of guys down there starting up their bikes. It's going to get a little loud here in a second. But it's a big city, okay? So Yokohama's a big city, not as big as Tokyo, but still rather large. So it gets noisy sometimes here in the metro area. So we'll just have to deal with that while we're doing this. So if you have trouble I take issue with all the noise. Remember, I am in a large city doing this on the street live. But yeah, we'll get back to the natural gas thing. I can buy that one economically. I can kind of see that. That is going to be a bit of a problem. Unless two things can be dealt with. Number one, these companies that rely on natural gas to produce energy, TEPCO, KEPCO, and a handful of other private guys running their own little small operations, are going to have to work out better deals with the distributors and importers of natural gas to get the price down. And they can do that if they're shrewd enough. I mean, these companies are going to know demand for natural gas is going to be pretty high if the nuclear reactors don't get restarted. So they're going to be tough to negotiate with because of that high demand. But if the supply is there, you can get your price down a little bit if you negotiate. So that'll be one way to kind of deal with it, to prevent another trade deficit. So Japan has kind of evened out their trade deficit since January, but it's going to come up again when he's with other factors in the market. So they have to do that. Number two, the biggest thing is going to be the infrastructure for natural gas. Yeah, I can... Pretty believable, you know, when TEPCO says that the power plants have not been updated and maintained in a way that can handle the need. And the plants are probably reaching capacity. That's probably true. I mean, when I look at, 30%, I believe it was around 30% of the country's energy supply was coming through nuclear power, and suddenly that's gone. Yeah, you probably haven't been keeping your natural gas plants on the up and up because you haven't hadn't needed to keep them at max capacity or at a higher capacity than what's needed or what's normal for the past several decades, since nuclear power became a major source of energy for the country. So what they're going to have to do is update those natural gas plants, definitely. Which that's going to be tricky because that will require reducing down the amount of power those plants produce and shutting some of them down. The transition over to using more natural gas to make up for the lack of nuclear. Now, let's talk about a hard decision there. So, let's say that we go with updating the natural gas plants and even a bit more controversial, but even restarting some of the clean coal plants where they basically collect the burn-off and let that dust settle and re-burn that and re-burn down the waste until it's pretty much nothing. It still produces pollution because it is coal, but it's done in a bit more economical way. They make more profit that way by re-burning the spent dust that comes off from the burn. So they'll have to restart some of those. Now that could offset the demand for energy when you have to shut down the gas plants to update them. So you could help there by temporarily restarting some of your coal plants. That would help. And another option, this would be the hard option, would be you would have to restart some of the reactors. I know we don't want to do that. That's something that, is really emotional to do, but if we're going to transition away from it, we need a stopgap in between. And it may come down to restarting a few reactors. Not all of them. I say just a few. Because a nuclear power plant can produce a lot of energy. Really quick, too. So if we can prove some of them are really safe and really good, we may want to consider temporarily restarting some reactors during a transition away from it. Because this has kind of come suddenly on Japan. It's not like Germany, where they're totally doing away from nuclear power and they have a set, gradual goal. It's not an emergency situation. So unlike Germany, Japan doesn't have the convenience of time on their hand. There's extremely hard pressure coming from the people to get out of nuclear power. So we may have to end up starting a few, which I don't want. But if we go the natural gas route and the option I just explained by using clean coal for a little while, updating the natural gas plants, you may have to restart some of the reactors. It's just a cold, hard fact of it. But, you know, I'm just one guy, and I'm just looking at it from a libertarian standpoint, economical standpoint. How we could actually pull this off and get out of this damn nuclear power business. Alright, so we've done about a little over 10 minutes now, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up, everyone. Thank you for checking this out. If you watched it live, thank you. If you've watched this later on Ustream, recorded or an edited, nice little more packaged version on YouTube, thank you very much. Please check out the Ustream channel. We'll provide a link here somewhere when I get this edited, ready for YouTube. And check out the YouTube channel as well. There's some other stuff on there that's pretty cool. It's Freedom WV. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for checking us out. And until next time, this is Ryan here in Yokohama today. Check it out.